Welcome back to the Stock Report as we take a look at Week 7 of college football and see what 2023 NFL draft prospects help their stock and hurt their stock. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, still a little hoarse, so bear with me today. Hopefully it's better tomorrow. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I only list 10 guys on here, so if there's someone I don't mention, just go ahead, throw them in the comment section and we can discuss them. I try to mention guys as I go on, but I can't watch everything. Kind of is what it is. But let's go ahead and start this list with Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. Had a heck of a game where 5 of his 6 receptions went for touchdowns. He has now 10 touchdowns on the year, and he leads all of college football in receiving touchdowns. I don't know. A 5-touchdown performance, I think, kind of does that for you. But Jalen Hyatt was a guy Hyatt was someone, honestly, I thought, or at least should have broke out last year. He just kind of fell on some bad luck, and I guess we kind of talk about him a little bit in terms of his background, as he was formerly a 4-star recruit in the 2020 class. As a freshman, he played in all 10 games, made 1 start. But in 2021, he started in the season opener, but in week 2, he got a concussion. And he was really shining at the beginning of the year. But he got a concussion, and after that, his playing time became more and more limited during the whole season. So it's nice to see him get off to this hot start, as I really think it should have happened last year for him. But for what he is, dude, this cat is a blazer. 4.3 speed, likely. He just explodes off the line of scrimmage. He explodes out of his breaks. He sports some nice double moves, which you like to see. And when it comes to these guys that could be these speedy vertical threats, we've seen these guys sneak into the late part of day 2. We've seen it with like an Anthony Schwartz. We saw it with Velus Jones, his former teammate just last year. So Hyatt could definitely do that. I see him more as an early day 3 guy, just because he's also a guy that only operates out of the slot. Over 90% of his snaps this year have gone in the slot or have been taken out of the slot. And if you look at the course of his career, it's been the same story. So he's probably going to be a slot player because he just lacks that physicality, especially during the route. Because there are times he just gets knocked off the route and just ruins the timing of the play. But, man, if this cat could add maybe some bulk, some strength to him, can you imagine what this dude can do out in space and maybe be a guy that could actually absorb contact? But in terms of what he is now, he is an exceptionally speedy deep threat who boasts some really nice double moves, really good route running, and actually really good body control. He adjusts well to the ball in air. There are times where his hands could be a bit wishy-washy, and he'll catch the ball more so with his pads instead of his hands. But kind of is what it is. I think he's better this year at that, because I know in 2021 he had a 12.5 drop rate, which that's kind of scary. This year it's a lot better. It's only 3%. He only has 1 drop on the year. So you like to see that. You like to see that big improvement there. So definitely a cat to watch out with, especially when he's smoking stogies with freaking Peyton Manning. That's just kind of the life. Next on the list, I want to talk about my boy Kenny McIntosh out of Georgia. And you'd be like, man, out of all the running backs you could have talked about this week, you're picking Kenny McIntosh. And I'll talk about other running backs later on the list, but I do want to talk about Kenny McIntosh because despite him not getting a big workload there, because, that's what Georgia does. They always have an embarrassment of riches at running back, so they go with the committee style, so they just keep those guys fresh. But this dude, he really makes the most of his touches. He had 11 touches in this game, 9 carries, 2 receptions, and he had 9 forced missed tackles on that. This guy is a forced missed tackle machine. He really is. And he also brings return experience. He is a do-everything back. That's going to be highly sought out in the NFL. Even though he's been stuck in a committee for the past 4 years really since 2020. So 2020, 2021, and 2022. 3 years. But he brings great return experience. He's just dangerous out in space. What he can do as a receiver, super nice. Like he's just super shifty, very fluid, very fast athlete. So like a cat that's a mismatch nightmare in the receiving game, offers you some return experience. So he could be really good right there, and honestly, like he shows good vision. He never gets too bouncy in the backfield. He never overstays his welcome behind the line of scrimmage. He can be patient when looking for the hole, but he doesn't overstay his welcome. He'll go ahead and try to make his own hole if he has to. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of this cat. Can't wait to see him in the next level. I'm probably gonna have a day 2 grade on him. I am kind of a Mark 4, Kenny McIntosh. And then I want to talk about Dalton Kincaid because he just had a banger game, really emerged against USC, as they really needed someone like him to really step up with Brant Kuithe going down, was it like a week or 2 ago? So he explodes versus USC, where he gets 16 receptions for 234 yards, adds a tutty in there. And if you're not familiar with Kincaid, well, buckle up. This cat only played 1 year of high school football. Only 1 year, but he went to the University of San Diego, where he moved from receiver to tight end. Saw significant increase in snaps his sophomore year at the University of San Diego, where he led all FCS tight ends with in yards per catch, and that was at 19. He ended up having over 800 yards that year, 8 touchdowns. He then decided to transfer to Utah in 2020 and really had a breakout campaign in 2021 where he had over 500 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. And he's already passed that in receiving yards. And he has 6 touchdowns on the year, so he's already looking to have a better year than he did the year prior. This dude is just such a dangerous receiving option at tight end. He's explosive off the line of scrimmage. He's explosive out of his breaks. Gets nice separation there. He hasn't dropped a pass outside of this year. Like, the dude's never dropped a pass during his whole collegiate career until this season. So this guy's hands are sure. Back in 2021, he was 7 of 9 on contested catch opportunities. I'm going to take a quick look where he's at this year. In terms of contested catches, he is 7 of 8. So, he's doing better in that regard as well. And this is a tight end class outside of Michael Mayer. There's just a ton of question marks. Like, you could say maybe Darnell Washington. A lot of people like Luke Musgrave of Oregon State. So Kincaid needed to step up because I kind of saw him as that guy at the beginning of the year. So I'm so glad to see him playing like this. As a blocker, I think we've seen improvements from him because he does a good job of sinking and trying to deliver strong blows. By no means is he an elite blocker, but he has improved bit by bit. Still a bit of a work in progress in that regard, but you've seen improvement. He's doing a better job of dictating where momentum goes when he latches onto a block. This cat, I think there's a good case for him to be tight end 2 in this class and likely a top 75 to top 50 prospect. So good on you, Kincaid. Hopefully the momentum continues. And then I'm going to go to the offensive line side of the football because I don't think I've talked about Fashanu at all this year, but Olu Fashanu, despite Penn State losing, had a great game. Really did. He allowed no pressures on 38 pass blocking snaps, and he actually looked pretty good as a run blocker, even though the only run in Penn State could get done on the ground was a 62-yarder from Sean Clifford. So, meh. But he was a 4-star recruit in the 2020 class, played basketball in high school, also had a ton of volunteer work while he was in high school. And basically, he would go to homeless shelters and such. He didn't see action his freshman season and redshirted, but 2021, he played in 9 games, had 1 start. This year is really his first year as a true starter. And he's looking great. This is a guy with a meteoric rise right now. He has the ideal length and the ideal size. Dude might have I think he has a six pack at 321. It's kind of ridiculous, and he's a good athlete for the position. Like there are times he'll throw definite punches. He plays with an immovable anchor. Strong base. Like balance is this guy's game. This guy can eat contact and not lose balance. He never plays out too far in front of himself. Good movement skills. You see like pass protector might be the best pass protector in this class right now, and a lot of this is projection on this point. But he's playing that way. Like his Mariner ability, he could really go one-on-one with anybody, with the best of them. He shut out Michigan this past week, and you're never gonna see this cat on ice skates. Like he legit has high-end traits that will put him, or that has put him in the first round discussion. Now, where people don't may not be behind him is he doesn't have the NFL finisher mentality, especially in the run game. In the run games where he's a work in progress, he's a guy that doesn't necessarily play with great leverage. He doesn't really use leverage. Probably could sink his hips a little bit more, but like again, he uses those high end traits to just to be sturdy, never be caught being pushed back. Like dude's real good. If he ends up being an OT1, it really won't surprise me. Like this is the cat that came out of nowhere thus far this season. And then I want to move to the defensive side of the football and talk about my Miami Hurricanes and Hakeem Misador. Hopefully I said that right. This is a cat that I think might actually end up returning. But he is playing a very good season of football. As you can see, 4 pressures, 4 sacks. I know it was against Virginia Tech, but still, like, this cat's been very impressive this season. And at 6'3", 280, he's a bit of a tweener. He really is. As he will kick inside occasionally, but he plays majority of the time outside of the tackle. Dude was a former 3-star recruit from the 2020 class. And side note, this dude's one of 8 children. Kind of wild. Born in Canada, moved to Florida his senior year of high school, and then he eventually decided to go to West Virginia, where he played in 10 games, making 1 start his freshman year. Was on the the All-American freshman team. He started every game for the Mountaineers in 2021, where he played nose and even lined up at 5 tech at some point. So like this guy has a very versatile, or at least he has shown versatility while he was at West Virginia as a Mountaineer. And then he decided he wanted to be closer to home. So he, because if you don't remember, I said he moved to Miami his senior year to play high school football. And anywho, he decided to move back to Florida. Just goes to Miami, and he's been amazing. He's been one of the best parts of this defense for the Hurricanes. He plays anywhere along the defensive line. He explodes off the line. His get off is just nutty, and he combines that with very heavy and violent hands. Plays with a variety of pass rush moves, whether they're kind of finesse or if he wants to really try to get leverage and push guys into the laps of quarterbacks. He can do that. He shows really good pursuit pursuit speed, going after ball carriers in the run game. Like this dude plays with a hot motor. The thing is, you could tell he doesn't have that pass rush approach, game plan to his approach, because he doesn't, when he does get locked up after initially meeting at the point of attack, he doesn't always have a counter or an answer to how he deals with that, and he's just basically dead in the play at that point. There are times where he tries far too often to win with his physical skills, because this dude's got good get off, really good get off, plays with definite blows, and he tries to get by with that so much, and he doesn't always have a response when he does get jammed. But for the most part, that's why I think he probably returns, because he is a bit raw. But in terms of what he does, what does he do to react after his first set of moves? But I really like how this cat's been playing. He's been very good as a run defender as well. Hasn't missed a tackle all year. 13 defensive stops on the season. The dude's just playing really good football, and wanted to mention him, even if he doesn't end up declared. And then let's go ahead and get to my stock down, guys. I got a few here with Malachi Moore out of Alabama. I really feel like this cat's going to return for one more year of college football, as he's only a true junior, I believe. True junior or redshirt sophomore. No, true junior, because he was playing his freshman season. But he just hasn't been that good this year. Just really hasn't. As you can see, he allowed a tutty. Got beat over the top on one of those Hyatt touchdowns, 1 of 5. And it's just, he hasn't shown the same type of ball skills we saw like his freshman season. And I know he has been someone that's been nagged by a back injury. I don't know if that's been something that's been bothering him this year, but I know it's something that bothered him back in 2020 and 2021. Because this is a dude that really does have special, like, you would say a special, like, skill set, because he's such a wonderful athlete. He shows very good short area quicks. He's got legit speed. He's aggressive in the run game, and he can plays well at the catch point. But you know what, man? I really think this guy might be slot only. I really do. Like, Alabama won't really play him much of anywhere else. A lot of times he's mainly in the slot. He really is. So I think that's going to hurt his stock, and I think he might return just because it's not an ideal year. Again, like, he really hasn't, like, his freshman season has kind of been his best season, where he had, like, what was it, like 5 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. Let me look this up real quick. There we go. It was... Oh, my bad. 8 pass breakups and 3 interceptions. Like, since then, in the last year and a half, he only has 1 pick and a pass breakup, and he's allowed 4 touchdowns. Only 1 this season, but he's also allowing a completion rate of 66%. So not at all that great. The missed tackles are up this year for him at 17%. And, like, he's just not seeing as many snaps as he normally does. Like, he's only eclipsed over 40 snaps twice this year. So it's like, I don't know if he's been plagued by this back. I'd have to look more into it, but it's just not looking like a year he should come out, in my opinion. On to Jordan Addison, who had a banger game, but he left with a leg injury. As of now, this is Sunday night. All I've seen is it's a lower body, lower leg injury. So it might be something around the ankle. Hopefully it's not serious, but if it is, I don't think it takes him out of the first round. But I think now you really start to see that wide receiver 1 might be just wide open this year. Like Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's been hampered all year by a hamstring. Kayshon Boutte literally just had his best game of the season this past weekend against Florida. Like, just ate them alive. Is that something he could continue on from? Like, he had a lot of forced missed tackles, and we were like, oh, this is the Boutte we wanted to see all year. So does he build off that? Quentin Johnston's coming off another banger game. I think he's the guy that definitely has a case to be made as wide receiver 1. So it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of wide open, but he had a good game until the injury. He had 6 receptions for 104 yards, had 2 carries for 27 yards. And it was actually one of those jet sweeps where he hurt himself. So just unfortunate news. Don't know the significance of the injury just yet. Just wanted to put it out there. Not necessarily a stock down, but I think it does make this more wide open at the receiver position. A lot of questions. Who's receiver 1 in this class? Nobody knows. All right. And then I think this is my final stock down. It's Devin Leary. And again, it's another thing just really just because of injury. And he's a cat that's a redshirt senior that actually can return because of the extra year of eligibility from COVID. So he could actually return next season. And he missed the last game, missed this game, and it's where it was officially, he's out for the season. So I put a midday 3 grade on him. If you didn't catch my mid-season quarterback rankings, he was number 10. With the injury, does that make him maybe more late day 3? Maybe even off other people's boards altogether? Because it's not like he was a cat with like elite tools. But he had I think he had real good high-end backup potential. So I honestly think he might end up returning. The injury really comes at a bad time where NC State really could use him. I think they're probably going to fall out of the top 25. Who do they got this week? Can't recall, but yeah, that's just rough, man. But, I think it's a torn pec, but best wishes to Devin Leary. Hopefully you get better, and in all likelihood, I think he does end up returning. And then Christian Rodriguez. This is where I'm going to talk about a lot of running backs because a lot of guys had really good weeks this week. Blake Corum had a banger. I talked about him in the Heisman candidate. If you missed that video, it just came out earlier today. But Blake Corum, I love this cat's he's quick, he's fast, he's got a nice low center of gravity, runs low and it absorbs contact. No crap, he runs low. He's like 5'8", but I love that cat. He's in the RB2 discussion. But when it comes to Chris Rodriguez, he's up there in terms of who's the best power back in this class, purely power. That's his game. And this dude's returned, and he's returned with a head full of steam. He's been playing very good football, but he is a power back through and through. So he's gonna get lumped together with Zach Charbonnet. You got I guess you could say Mayan Williams, Rashawn Johnson, Dwayne McBride, those guys. So he's kind of in this shuffle, and I think you could maybe see this cat come off early day 3, maybe mid day 3. So we're talking that 4th to 6th round area. But if he keeps on this pace, I think we will see him early day 3. Fumbles back in the day were a concern. Let me confirm how he's doing in the fumble department this year. I mean, he's only played 3 games, right? Yeah. No fumbles. No, these are receptions. Oh, crap. So, one fumble. Because if you don't remember, he had 6 fumbles last year. So, that is a bit worrisome. But, I mean, right now, this is a cat that, again, looks like he's going to be the short distance goal line option, just good power back. And it's not like there's enough good ones. This is a bloated class in terms of just legit filled with talent. But I didn't even mention there's also a Tavion Thomas from Utah. Throw him in the power back conversation. There's Kendall Milton. There's Kendre Miller, from TCU. This is such a big class. Zach Evans just finally came alive, had a banger week against Auburn. It's thank goodness, dude. There's just too many good running backs in this class. There really is. I love this running back class. But y'all know how I feel about running back value. Another thing that might hurt, maybe it might hurt Rodriguez's draft stock. If you didn't know, he had the DUI. That's why I missed the first part of the year. He was suspended for a DUI and reckless driving charge over the summer. Was it over the summer? Maybe he got it back in February. It was springtime. But that's why I missed the first part of this season. So, yeah, maybe that's a character concern. Maybe some teams will just be oh, it's a young kid doing stupid things. I don't know. I'll leave that up to your discretion. Let's go ahead and talk about my final guy here on the list, being Xavier Hutchinson. As you notice, yes, it's a very heavy offensive side of the football this week. Because that's really what I wanted to talk about. But Xavier Hutchinson had a banger game, and probably only The only thing people remember coming from it is probably the drop. There was a case where he jumped for the football where he didn't need to jump for the football, unfortunately. But he jumps for the football and he drops it on a very bad landing. Like, yeah, the ground essentially forced the ball loose. He landed almost flat backed. Legit looked like he got popped. I suggest you go and look at it. But it would have, that catch would have, like, could have sealed the game for Iowa State. And unfortunately, it actually did quite the opposite since it went as a drop. But he's been putting together another really good season there at Iowa State, as this game, 10 receptions, 154 yards. Did have the drop. Had 3 drops the prior game against Kansas State. But outside of that, he has been pretty sure-handed the rest of the season. Though he was actually sure-handed the year before. Or at least this dude's been a monster since arriving at Iowa in general. As right now, his drop rate is the highest of his career. I will say that. But this guy's already met what he had in touchdowns last year, this season. He's well on his way to probably passing his receiving mark from last year. He's already matched last year's forced missed tackles. Like, this is a guy that can create after the catch. He's not like a speedster, but he's got pretty good speed for a bigger receiver. He really does. I think this guy's talked himself into the day 2 area, and I think there's going to be a lot of interest in day 2 receivers, really, when it's all said and done, because I'm a big Rashee Rice guy. Like, maybe Jacob Cohen sneaks into there as this, like, slot twitched up monster. Maybe he's probably more early day 3. I don't know. But you just love Xavier Hutchinson. Long athlete. Dude can cover a lot of ground because he's got these big strides. He's consistent, like consistently good at the contested catch. Might be more of a straight line athlete. Because he's a guy that doesn't like run a huge route tree. It's like slants, goes, and screens, really. But honestly, like I like Xavier Hutchinson. Jaden Reed, there we go, out of Michigan State. He had a great game past weekend after missing a lot of the early season with an injury. So it was good to see him come back and play exceptionally well. Quentin Johnson continues to tear it up. Building off of last week's big performance. So I'm real hyped up, man. Like, college football is getting really good, and I can't wait to talk more about it when my voice is fully rested and healed. So hopefully I can do that this week, because we got to talk about my prospect rankings. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. It's fun as always. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.